Hello guys, and welcome back to Car Obsession. Well then, quite a bit to unpack. So, I mean, at this point, I would say I would try not to waffle on too much, but I don't think I can commit to that. You joined me just outside Whitby, all the way up in Yorkshire, up north, as I've been doing a bit of filming with Pocket Rockets Chris, thanks to Goodyear. So yeah. For those of you that don't know, I'm actually based in Worthing, so to come all the way to Whitby, it's been a fair old drive. It took me about 7 hours to get here yesterday, and I arrived at 1 o'clock this morning. And as such, it was too late to get into my accommodation, and I've only had 3.5 hours sleep, and I slept in the car. Yeah. Buckle yourself in for of God knows how many minutes of me babbling, because I'm just tired. Anyway, I'm now on my way back to Worthing, which sounds farcical because I only arrived in York at 1 o'clock this morning and I'm already heading back down south. That's how bad the north is. No, I'm joking. The north is a beautiful place. So if you're from the north of England, no need to bash your keyboard. Anyway, before I upset the whole north of England, yes, we need to talk. What does that mean? Well, I mean, what that actually means is that you're going to listen to me babble on for a long time. So it's more a case of I need to talk. But what I mean is, the reason why I call it We Need to Talk is because you can communicate with me in the comments section. So, what is going on in my YouTube world? Well, it isn't a happy world, if I'm going to be honest. I kind of said earlier in the year that I would film the Kia Niro, the FL5 Civic Type R, the two Caterhams, see how they do it in regards to views, and kind of go from there regarding what I want to do next. Just realised I need to turn up my LED light. There we go, make it a bit brighter because it's quite dark in here, although that probably hasn't made any difference. So yeah, the videos have been made. Granted, the Kia Niro review hasn't gone up as of yet, but some of my Niro hybrid content has gone up, and to be honest, the feedback in regard to views has been disappointing. Now with the two Caterhams, I can kind of understand it because they are very niche cars, and even by Caterham standards, they're even more niche because of their trim level, well, the kind of design. But normally my Caterham content does quite well. I think it helps that there aren't as many people on YouTube that film Caterhams. I mean, let's not say there isn't a lot of Caterham content out there, because there's still a fair amount. But yeah, I've built up a very good working relationship with Caterham, and yeah, normally their videos do quite well. Anyway, I'm not going to get bogged down too much in that genre of car. My FL5 Civic Type R video, did no numbers. Now, at the time on social media, I said that I'm not too fussed about the views because I've had such a fun time filming it, and I've been grateful to have the car. That still rings true, but on the same hand, I was expecting more than what I've got currently. I think the last time I checked, my review was sitting on about 2,000 views. And it doesn't help that, as much as I am grateful to get these cars, and a lot of other creators would kill to be in my position, well, maybe not kill, but you know what I mean, I often get cars too late. And because by the time I get most press cars, the kind of main buzz has died down and I'm kind of late to the party, the amount of searches for that car aren't as high because people aren't as interested as they were previously. And yeah, my Civic Type, splash. The Civic Type R video didn't do very well. So far, my Niro hybrid video hasn't done very well. And it kind of makes you think, well, why am I committing so much time and energy into something that just isn't giving me their reward? They say in life you get out what you put in, and whilst I do maintain that is true most of the time, unfortunately in recent years, on my YouTube channel at least, that simply isn't the case. And I know they also say you should work smart, not hard, and maybe there's certain things I could be doing better, like thumbnails and SEO, but I do try things. In recent weeks I've been experimenting with titles and thumbnails, and TubeBuddy, which is an extension, and it helps with creators. They've got some fantastic tools on there. That isn't a plug, because I'm not being sponsored by TubeBuddy. Although TubeBuddy, if you're watching, you know where I am. And you may have noticed that on some of my videos, over the course of days, the title keeps changing, or the thumbnail keeps changing, and that's because I've been doing what's called A/B testing to see what works and what doesn't. And although that has been helpful, it hasn't really helped enough to really see a massive increase in views. So it's got to the point where I've got quite unhappy, because I'm thinking it feels like I'm running but not getting anywhere, exerting a lot of effort but not getting anything out of it, apart from just getting out of breath. Where's Chris going? He's not indicating. I'm following Chris. He is my guide. Shouldn't have done that. It was a bit naughty, but I didn't want to lose Chris. Apologies for the outside GoPros. As you can see, it's very wet. To be fair, for a video like this, you don't really need them as such anyway. Yes, so I got to a point last few days where I thought I need to step away from YouTube, so I need to work out what I want to do next. And I think some of you got the impression that I was giving up. I'm not. What I said was I want to step away from YouTube indefinitely, not forever. Just I need to step away, get some headspace, think about what I want to do next, what I enjoy doing on the channel, what I don't enjoy doing, and obviously doing more of the former compared to the latter. And I'll be honest with you, I've come to the realisation that I just don't like doing new car reviews as much as I used to. I think now that I've been very lucky to drive a lot of different new cars, I wouldn't say the novelty has worn off, but there's not much on the new car market that really excites me, and sadly the stuff that does I simply haven't got access to. And on the topic of access, that's quite a nice segue into the next part of the conversation. Now, although my channel is growing, albeit at a slow rate, my access to cars is actually becoming harder and harder. Well, not harder and harder, I should say slimmer and slimmer. That probably makes more sense from a grammatical. I'm just making words up now. So what happens when you've only had 3.5 hours sleep? Grammatical. That makes more sense, in my opinion, from a grammar perspective. Anyway, so once upon a time, in a land far, far away. No, not that kind of story. Once upon a time, I would have access to Peugeots, Citroens, what used to be PSA. Also, Vauxhalls came under that umbrella, and of course DS. And I would have access to FCA, so Fiat Chrysler Automobiles. Albeit I didn't get that many Fiats, but I did get some now and then. And I did have one Jeep. Now, if you don't know, FCA and PSA, they came together to form Stellantis, which is essentially a super group of manufacturers. And ever since that has been formed, I haven't been able to get any cars from them. They've given me the reason of budgeting, finances, and so forth. And you may think that's a weird reason. Well, as I've said before, on average, for a car manufacturer to send a car out to someone like myself, it will cost them about £1,000. They've got to pay for it to be insured, pay for it to be fully fueled, pay for it to be delivered, and pay for it to be collected. So quite a few expenses there. And if a manufacturer isn't getting that return of investment, i.e. they give a car out to someone and only 500 people watch the video, then from their point of view, they're thinking, well, why are we bothering? Now, I get that, but FK2 Civic Type R, nice. But I would argue quite a lot of my Peugeot Citroen content was doing quite well, and some of my Vauxhall stuff did okay. Jeep stuff, not so much, but I only ever had one Jeep, the Compass, not a particularly great car. And I had a few Fiats, and my Fiat content, yeah, I would say was so-so. So getting access to new cars is more difficult, weirdly. Ford. I don't have access to Ford anymore. Ford they're changing their strategy. Of course, the Fiesta is now dead, and it looks as if Ford want to double down on the EV world. And as such, the way how they're loaning cars out has changed. To be fair, if they want to go down the EV route, then I'm not fussed. I'm not against EVs. I respect their place in the motoring world, but EVs just don't do much for me, and I don't get much excitement out of reviewing them. That is an awkward thing to say, because in 2 days' time, it'll be tomorrow by the time you're watching this, so this will go out live on Sunday, and then tomorrow, which will be Monday in time travel world, I'm taking delivery of the Hyundai Ioniq 6, an electric car. Now, to be fair, the Ioniq 6 does pique my interest because it's quite a distinctive looking car. But yeah, so lack of cars to review is a factor. The fact that there's not much on the new car market that excites me, and I don't want to just drive cars just for the sake of it. The other factors into why I want to move away from new car reviews is, well, I can walk to work in about five minutes. Therefore, day to day, I'm not driving. But one of the reasons why I got rid of Ewan, my Audi A6, I didn't need 3 cars. I don't need 2 cars, to be honest, but there's no way in hell that I'm selling Monique, and I can't sell. Well, I can sell Leo, but he's the family car, and I mean, I like Leo. I've put my own stamp on him. I don't. Oh, that's my front-facing camera turning off. One of the batteries was a bit low, but all the batteries are in the boat, and because I'm following Chris, I don't really want to stop. Because I walk to work every day, I don't need to. I mean, when I get a car to review now, it's more difficult to review it because I'm not driving it day in, day out, so I'm not really living with the car, so to speak. That's another reason why I don't want to do new car reviews, because it makes it quite stressful, because I end up having to do all of my living with the car over the weekend, and that's simply too short a space of time to properly have a kind of bona fide concrete verdict on a car, in my opinion. Particularly because I tried to do my stuff in a very in-depth way, maybe a bit too in-depth at some points. And another factor for why I'm stepping away from new car reviews is because I just don't think it's a particularly good way to grow my channel. And I thought maybe if I stuck at it enough, the numbers will kind of catch up. But let's think of it this way. Let's say you want to buy the brand new Samsung Galaxy S23. Other smartphones are available. You watch a video, decide, yep, that's the phone for me. Let's say the same channel you watched that reviewed that Samsung, the next week they review the latest iPhone, which is the iPhone 14, I think. I don't know. I don't really keep track of iPhones. You're not going to go back to that channel to watch that review, are you? Because there's no real incentive or need for you to do it. You've just bought your new phone, you're happy with it. You're not going to watch a review on an iPhone and think, oh, I wish I'd bought one of those. And there's a good chance you probably would have watched a review on an iPhone before buying the Samsung on a different channel. I mean the iPhone review, if you get what I mean. My point is, you wouldn't feel the need to return to that channel. So yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I'm going to completely stop doing new car reviews, but I'm going to be a lot more picky with what I want to review. And when I do review something, my format will need to change, because yeah, I just want to do something a bit different. I know some of you love my informative, in-depth reviews, and I love bringing those reviews to you. Well, not as much as I used to, but I just feel like I need to do something a bit more out of the box. For example, the Ioniq 6 I have next week, I don't quite know what I'm doing with it, but one idea is to live in it for 24 hours. Why not? But I haven't quite nailed that idea down as of yet, because I mean I've slept in 2 cars so far in the last year, one of which was today, of course, and it's not much fun. So I don't know. So that really brings me on to the question, what will I do instead? That's a good question. I'm glad you asked it. So I'd love to do a project car build, but I need to get a bit of money behind me to do that. I could start off with something very cheap, but then I need money to fix it because it's a project car. It will need fixing. It's inevitable. It's like a rainbow after the sun has come out after a shower. Inevitable. In fact, any rainbows? No. Pity. So I want to get a bit of money behind me to do that. I want to go back to my Cheap Thrills videos because I loved doing those. If you're among the uninitiated and you don't know what that series is, I celebrate and feature fun cars that will cost you under £5,000. Cheap Thrills, clues in the name. I also want to do more of my throwback series. What's Chris doing? Indicating all over the place. Does he know where he's going? I'm not so confident. My throwback review series is where I review cars from yesteryear. So, for example, I've done this as a throwback review. Another thing I want to do, and albeit this is a copycat of Auto Alex, is I'd love to do a trade-up series. Now, one could call it plagiarism. I would call it inspiration. So I want to do that. I actually found the other day on Auto Trader a Mark II Ford Focus ST, 800 quid, pre-facelift, 111,000 miles, and yeah, the bodywork was quite crusty, and it needed work. But for the sake of 800 quid, I thought surely there's some money to be made in that. But it sold, sadly, so I'm kind of back to the drawing board, and it's quite a fun challenge because you have to find a car that you kind of want to spend the minimal amount of money on, but kind of get the maximum amount of profit, if that makes sense. And I want to make content that's more, I suppose, personable, relatable to the channel, and without meaning to sound a bit selfish, I want to film content I want to film. I would say for quite some time now I haven't done that, and I've kind of fallen into the trap where I've reviewed any car that I've been able to get my hands on just to stay consistent, and I don't really want to do that anymore because it's a lot easier to review a car that you have a genuine interest for. Like whenever I review a hot hatch, it comes so much more naturally to me because it's a car that I have a genuine bona fide interest in. It's a car I've got a passion for. As many of you should know by now, I love a hot hatchback. If I had to choose one car for the rest of my life, it probably would be a hot hatch. Don't ask me which one though, that's a very difficult question to answer. But yeah, I fell into the trap where I just almost reviewed anything and everything, and I don't want to do that anymore. I've done that. I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, and I just want to make content that I want to make. That's why I started this channel to begin with. It's all about sharing my passion, my love of cars, and over time I've just become a little bit complacent. I can't even say it, and I've just kind of started going through the motions and almost just acting on autopilot. I don't want to do that. I want to be in the moment. I want to be enjoying what I'm doing, and I think that will come across more through the lens and on your screen if I have a proper passion for something. And I can't say hand on heart that I've got a passion for many new cars on the market. Just look at the hot hatch segment alone. How many hot hatches have fallen by the wayside over the last few years? Fallen by the wayside, is that the right expression? I think so. The Fiesta ST, dead. The Clio RS, dead. The Peugeot 208 GTI, dead. The Seat Ibiza Cupra, dead. And there's more to add to that list. The Renault Megane RS. I don't think that's made anymore, is it? And yeah, you've got one genre in particular of cars that I have a strong feeling towards, and they're just dying out. And I know you've got things like the Cupra Born, which is meant to be an electric hot hatch, but when you compare it to, well, even if you compare it to Leo, it's not that hot in regards to performance, and it's quite a large car. Plus, the seating position is almost akin to an SUV as opposed to a hatchback. It all feels a bit peculiar. It almost feels like a crossover in certain areas. So rest assured, I'm not going anywhere. You have to try hard to get rid of me. Thank you for the lovely messages. I was genuinely overwhelmed by the support. But I mean, I don't know why I should be surprised. You're a good bunch. You are my followers, my subscribers. But no, thank you for the messages. I think there was a bit of confusion. Some of you thought I was quitting for good. No, I mean, as much as YouTube is difficult, and this isn't. I will be frank. This isn't the first time I've been in this kind of rut, as it were. Although this time around, I think I know what I can do to kind of. Chris is off again. I think I know what I can do to kind of avoid it happening in the future. But yeah, I've been in this kind of rut before. But you go through. It's like anything in life. You have your ups and your downs. Yeah. You can't have ups without the downs. I mean, one could argue that when you have your downs, it makes your ups even more sweeter. If that makes sense. All the LED lights just turned off. There we go. Oh, it's dead. That's why. Fair enough. So, given the fact that my LED light has died, although you can probably still see me just fine anyway, even though it's a bit dark, and the fact that GoPro's died, I don't know how long I've been talking for. I've probably been waffling on for quite some time. But yeah, I'm going to draw things to a close. Again, thank you for your support. Now, what I will say is, because I'm now kind of refinding my feet in regards to what I want to film content-wise, there may be a bit of a gap in uploads. Fear not. That won't be permanent. I've got my review of the Kia Niro Hybrid to come your way. I've got my my point of view review of the two Caterhams. And I must admit, after that, just make sure I'm still filming. After that, there will be a bit of a radio silence. But rest assured, I'm not planning on going anywhere. It's just a case of, it may be the case that I need to kind of film a load of content, stack it up, and then be able to kind of deliver it to you on a weekly basis. But we'll see how we get on. This is an exciting time because it feels like I'm rebirthing the channel, so to speak. I look forward to seeing what comes of it, and I do hope you enjoy me. You will join me for the ride and enjoy the ride. That's what I was trying to say, but I spliced those two parts of the sentence together. Now, for those of you that love my in-depth and informative reviews, I can't promise they're still going to come. I need to be honest. If I can deliver them to you, I will. But yeah, like I said, I want to move away from new car reviews. But I mean, if I can film more used cars, one could argue that's more relatable anyway, because I'm sure many of you can't afford to go out and buy brand new cars. They're just stupidly expensive, and I know the majority of cars are bought on finance, but even so, I would have thought me focusing more on older cars is probably going to be more relevant and beneficial to you guys. Don't know. Let me know in the comment section what you think. I'd love to hear your thoughts, because that's why I called this We Need to Talk, so I want to get your input as well. I know quite often many of you bang on about wanting to see owners' cars on here, much like the style of, let's say, Officially Gassed or living life fast, etc. I mean, I like doing that, but if I'm going to be honest, more often than not, trying to, well, I was going to say pin someone down, but metaphorically pin someone down to get them to commit to a date to allow their car to be filmed is, if I'm honest, more hassle than it's worth. The amount of people that have been really up for it, and then when it comes to crunch time, they just string me along. So I try not to get involved in owners' cars too much, because I just spend most of my time chasing my tail, and it's time I don't really have. So yeah, let me know what you want to see on this channel, but owners' cars is a bit of a tricky one. But anyway, I'm going to settle down for my long drive back to the south, and I will catch up with you guys soon. I mean, at this point, I'd normally say if you like this video, like, comment and subscribe, etc. But I'd say it's not really applicable to this video as such. What I will say is let me know your thoughts, and until the next time, guys, be sure to keep up the car obsession.